From our Main Street newsroom, this is 2 News Live at 3:30.
Live at 3:30, live in Summit County this afternoon. The Rocky Canyon fire making a strong push, prompting the evacuation of the town of Henefer. Krista McPeak is there with a live update minutes away. Also a new campus opening just in time for back to school season. We are knocking on the door for kids to head back in the classroom. Also, some really good video here. A bear scales a cliff right off of the freeway. A live look from that general area. We'll show you the video and the pictures to prove it here on 2 News Live. Great to have you with us this afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Schnee. This is 2 News Live. A lot to get to in a short amount of time, including what is happening right now in the Morgan and Summit County areas with the Rocky Canyon fire. Folks that have lived in this area or live up there have been driving through have definitely been able to see it. I saw it from the west side of the Salt Lake Valley last night. That's about 50 miles away, and this fire is getting a lot of attention. It is also angry and moving and forcing evacuations this afternoon. For that, we turn live to Kristen McPeak, is joining us live in Summit County right now. Kristen, you have been in Henefer throughout the course of the day here. We just heard moments ago, folks in Henefer might need to pack up and go.
They do need to pack up and go, Brian. We were just there, and the sheriff's deputies with Summit County came by and said it is time to evacuate, and we did just that. We spoke, got a quick update with the Forest Service, who is kind of leading the information here on this fire. Take a look here behind me. So we actually moved out of the town of Henefer, and we are across I-84, and you can see a plume of smoke behind the mountain there. Lots of people still in Henefer. I've been talking with residents all day, just anxiously watching as the smoke becomes larger, and you can even see the flames coming closer to the town. They were reasonably worried. A lot of them here have livestock, horses, cattle, animals, and that kind of thing. And so that is a big part of this fire and fighting it, is getting all the resources in to get all the animals and families out of here. There is a lot of land, of course, so it's not very dense property, but still completely scary. And we just got the notice that they are evacuating the town of Henefer, and so we'll be out here kind of watching this, keeping an eye on it. We do know that no structures have been lost and no livestock have been lost. I know they took a lot of that livestock evacuated out from back behind the canyon in Henefer, so just south of it. But we have spoken with ranchers today who were moving all their horses and cattle, trying to protect them from the fire. We were going to do an interview with one horse trainer. He said, I can't talk right now. I have to go save my herd. So it's pretty busy for those all back here in Henefer and beyond.
Yeah, Kristen, I noticed you mentioned the livestock and the structures. I was just looking at a video just before we hopped on the air here. It looks like the closest structures are actually relatively close to where that fire is right now. So I believe they were saying it reached a trigger point. Do you know exactly how far we're looking here to the closest structures or the town of Henefer proper?
It's hard to say. I will say when we were looking south of the town of Henefer, you can see kind of a junction. There's a park in the area, and there was a hillside, and you can start to see those flames coming up and over the hillside. I did start to see emergency vehicles go up to one house kind of near the hillside there, and so it definitely looks like they are preparing, you know, for further precautions, and so we'll keep an eye on that. We'll look more into that trigger point, what it is exactly.
Kristen, any insight into who else needs to be ready at this point? Are there any other changes for evacuation statuses you're aware of that have come out recently?
Yes, the Franklin area is asked to be in touch or just be aware of some potential go spaces, and anywhere just North Summit County area, there is a meeting tonight at 7 o'clock, and that will be at the high school, and you can get more information there if you are concerned. These officials are putting out these alerts, so if you do live in an area that is affected, you will be getting an alert, and anywhere in this area, North Summit County is kind of the area that is on watch right now.
All right, Kristen McPeak reporting live for us this afternoon here on 2 News Live from the town of Henefer, which is being evacuated as we speak here due to the Rocky Canyon fire. Kristen, thank you very much. Let's shift our focus here again. Another live look, if we can pull it up. This is just outside of Beaver. Once again, the Cottonwood Fire burn scar area is doing its thing. There is a flash flood warning over that area, and you can see the significant flooding coming down SR 153 from one of these mobilized UDOT cameras that they put up here. Not a UDOT camera, Division of Emergency Management camera, Utah DEM. Put these up right after this camera, this fire moved through SR 153, and that road is still closed. So that is a significant thing that we are watching here this afternoon on 2 News Live. A couple other things going on right now. Federal authorities have taken over the case against a captain charged in a deadly boat capsizing in New York City. Over the weekend, a 27-year-old woman and her 5-month-old daughter were killed. Police say a total of 14 people were on board that vessel. 12 people have been pulled from the water before rescue teams arrived. Divers later located the woman and the baby in the water, and the U.S. Coast Guard is now investigating this. Columbia making the news today. You probably got that push alert from our 2 News app. A 7.4 magnitude earthquake has struck Colombia, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. The epicenter was in San Jose del Palmar, about 174 miles, 280 kilometers, that is west of Bogota. So tremors were felt in several cities, including the capital, where the shaking set off alarms and sent people into the streets. The quake, as we've learned it so far, has already claimed at least 74 lives. Spain has established temporary border controls on travelers arriving from Italy as rows of migrant influxes intensify from Italy. And we've got a live look from the Gibraltar border for you right now. You can see the obvious time change here. So we are joining you about 3:30 local time here in the Mountain Time Zone in the United States. But a live look from that area. The measures have sparked uncertainty for millions of summer travelers all across Europe. It's about that time. Let's head over to our content center to see what is happening on our website, on our YouTube platforms. Jonathan May is here. What do you have for us?
Well, yeah, Brian, tomorrow marks the 1-year anniversary since we've been talking fires a lot, but the 1-year anniversary of that Main Street fire, that fire just downtown, just down the street from where we are. And we're kind of putting together just a summary of what happened and the progress a few businesses have made since that fire. You can see here, this video here, a time lapse of that fire on that evening here. So we put together a couple of stories here, links to our YouTube. Here we have us produced kind of mini documentary, if you will, of talking with the Whiskey Street business owners about rebuilding and what it's taken to get back here.
And over here, obviously the video, I remember this because it doesn't even feel like a year at this point for some of us, but this is from our building looking next door virtually.
Yes, right, just right, the roof camera right here just capturing. We put together, kind of made a time lapse, if you will, of these fire engines just spraying down these buildings with water.
The Black Bear video that we talked about at the top of our show here with a live camera looking from that general location. What do we have going on here?
Well, for those who doubt that black bears aren't fast, you can just see this, how much of a climbers they are. You can kind of see why, wildlife officials say you can't outclimb these black bears if you see them. This is in Price Canyon, just off of Highway 6, and you can see this black bear just move so fast up this cliffside here.
Yeah, not AI generated.
Not AI.
You know what the comments will say.
Not AI generated.
You know what the comments will say.
Some of the comments are like, I can't move that fast.
I can't move that fast. Yeah, absolutely not. All right, Jonathan, thank you. Again, you can check out all of that in our on our YouTube page, on our website, KUTV.com. I will grab that microphone by the way, so we can actually use it here in just a second. We now know that Utah Valley University will cancel classes and university operations on September 10th. So we'll look at about a month out here, the 1-year anniversary of Charlie Kirk's assassination. Students will instead be invited to take part in a service project. UVU created a memorial committee last year and has a memorial page with more information. Turning our focus to southern Utah, Brian, head public safety is warning residents and visitors to be on the lookout for mountain lions. Officials say the animals have been recently spotted on security cameras around town. They look cute here, probably not when they're approaching your home and, knocking on the door here to try to get your house cat. But they're reminding people that Bryan Head is wildlife country and to stay alert, especially around homes and towns. Finally here, southern Utah in the mix. We are heading to Iron County. This is a live look a little bit further south than that. New school ready to come about here as we get going for the school year. East Elementary celebrating its new building with an open house and ribbon cutting this afternoon. So giving families a first look at the new school here ahead of all of this. That's what they were hoping to do this afternoon. And I'm sure those kids are just so excited to get back to school. I'm always excited to talk to meteorologist Chase Thomason here on 2 News Live at 3:30. Good afternoon to you.
Yep.
Very active thing you're looking at right here statewide, it looks like.
Yeah, very busy day. Of course, we have the high fire danger here in northern Utah. Winds are beginning to pick up just a bit as well, Brian. But what I'm most concerned right now is actually a new flash flood warning for the Cottonwood burn scar. There is a debris flow coming down the canyon, still maybe 1 to 2 hours away from impacting the city of Beaver. But we're seeing a large wave coming down the canyon. This is in effect until 6 o'clock. Radar estimates anywhere between probably a ½ inch to an inch of rain on that burn scar. So that's something that we're watching very, very closely.
Something you'll be seeing here constantly here. We can take that live look if we do have that camera for you, but something you'll be looking at on 2 News at 4, 5, and 6 o'clock. We already saw that flooding here. You can see it right now on this live camera, Chase. This is further up, SR 153 here. This is a lot of water.
Yeah, that's a lot of water coming down the canyon right now. So hopefully things are going to be okay, but we don't really know exactly what's going to be happening towards the end of the canyon as it continues to come down, and there's more storms out there. So kind of an active monsoon with these scattered thunderstorms. Of course, they go up in the mountains, and a few can drift off into the valleys. Just a slight chance here in northern Utah for maybe a shower or thunderstorm. Folks probably want some rain on top of the fire in Summit County. Probably going to see maybe a chance for that this evening, but we're going to see a much better chance. That's going to be our next weather maker. Is actually a storm system will be moving in. It's got some cooler air and a better chance for widespread rain. You'll see that our rain chances really start to go up really on Wednesday, but Thursday could be the day where we have that widespread rain.
Good information. A lot to keep an eye on here over the next couple of hours, especially for our friends in Beaver. Chase, thank you very much.
Brian.
Still ahead here on 2 News Live, a report just posted shows almost half of the adults under 30 live at home. What those stats look like here in the Beehive State when we return. Two News listens, we are always hearing what you are saying on the socials and taking a deeper dive. This is something I think a lot of you can relate to. Do you have enough dough to get out of the basement? It's a real question. Well, there's a lot of people under the age of 30 that don't have the money to put the down payment on the house or to even get the townhome, that sort of thing, because prices have just skyrocketed. And this is something we wanted to get an expert on today, but I'm going to do my best to fill here. How much do you need to have enough money to get out of your parents' basement, for example? Well, nearly half of adults under 30 per fortune. That is apparently what is being said there about right here. So we don't have enough people. And then Flat Ranger said on X, if you put $100K down in a house in Utah, you need to make at least $6K a month or more in order to meet the 40-40-20 rule. If you aren't making about 6 figures, you are in poverty here. That is the comment on X that is spearheading this conversation. So 6 figures can help, but it's not always required, especially for first-time home buyers with larger down payments or 2 incomes. So high home prices, mortgage rates, taxes, insurance, they're all making home ownership more expensive. If you have the family heir of the money to throw at it, that would help. But if you don't have that, it's going to be tough. If you're not at that income level, experts say it's best to just focus on that budget, focus on paying down your debt, your credit, and focusing on those first-time buyer programs. There are good incentives out there. You still just have to have enough cash to fork up to make some of these happen. And at the end of the day, keep in mind, we are experiencing just massive home building growth here. It's this style that has just taken over parts of the western U.S. specifically, and Utah has that right here in the Salt Lake Valley, primarily as you see those major developments going up on the west side. Also taking a look at what you were talking about, and boy, did I hear all about this. Actually, my car got this alert today from yesterday driving to work. So I know what you're saying here. Sandy residents say they were receiving those evacuation notices related to the Rocky Canyon fire. That fire's nowhere near Sandy. Let's just put that one to bed here. Similar false alerts have also been reported here. I was just in Millard County, and we had the sheriff on to talk about their evacuation alert issues they were experiencing. They were looking at spotty cell reception in rural Utah, for example, just not getting to the right people at the right time. I was standing there at 5 o'clock. I got a 6:30 a.m. text alert as I was standing there with the sheriff talking about that just last week. You know, it is a good idea, though. Make sure you have that bag, you have that go bag, you have a plan regardless, because maybe you didn't look out the window and you've had your head buried in the computer, you've been on your 6 cell phones, and you didn't look out to see there's something actually going on in your neck of the woods. So don't necessarily discount it, but do a little research here. It will help, and as always, we try to have a lot of those evacuation latest on our website, KUTV.com, in the moment as soon as we learn about them. But Naomi's comment here is just a great point. If you live in an area that is wildland-urban interface, for example, that is something that you're going to want to make sure you have that go bag, you're ready to go. Look at where all those false evacuations have been reported, virtually statewide here. I mean, we go all the way down to Cedar City, up towards Vernal, Santaquin, you name it. So there's a lot going on there. Let's turn to taxes here. There is always a conversation when people in your area are asking you to give more money for things. It's not a big increase, it's just a couple bucks a month. Well, for a lot of you, that adds up. I understand. We hear about it all the time, and this is something that is going on with the Cache County School Board here. Members there voted to raise property taxes, and we're seeing questions about this on Facebook. Some homeowners say their school taxes could go up as much as 37%, and depending on what that percentage means for you, could be a couple bucks, could be more, but keep in mind, we hear a lot from you over and over and over again, year after year, about how a little bit keeps getting added on, and before you know it, things have gotten pretty pricey. They're looking into why the district approved the increase in the first place and where that money will go. And if we can get a little bit more insight on the Cache County Board and what they're trying to do here, we will be sure to bring that to you, because we see a lot of you are talking about this on the socials. For example, Facebook, there's a lot of good groups that we keep an eye on there in the Cache Valley. As always, we are listening to you, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, YouTube comments, you name it. Some of them are always nicer than others. I read the comments, but we hear you, and if you have anything you'd like us to look into, you can always send it to us directly. We'll be right back. What I like about 2 News Live, we'll get to in just a moment, not this, a live-looking beaver. This is the SR 153 area, just cannot catch a break, and it could be like this for a while. We talk about the long-term impacts from burn scars, especially in unique topography like this. This is a live look this afternoon here. Chase was concerned about that. He's going to keep a close eye on it. Coming up on 2 News at 4 o'clock to tell you more about that flash flood warning and whatnot that's in effect there and another place in the state. The thing I enjoy about 2 News Live here is learning something new. And thankfully, I have Jim Spiewak here to talk about the word quantum that I had never heard of really in this context until today, because I'm just not into that sort of thing. But apparently, this could be the takeover, Jim.
Quantum computing. So let's talk about it. Today, the governor, he signed an executive order that is going to create this initiative of sorts over quantum computing. It's this technology that has been advancing now for years and years and years, and we're going to see more of it here in the state of Utah because of this executive order. So what it really does is it creates this initiative of all these different stakeholders that are going to come together and begin the process of making sure that we're all on the same page, so that when these federal dollars for this technology comes into the state, we are ready for it. There's going to be things, manufacturing, high-performance computing, developing a quantum-ready workforce. The expert that I spoke with a little bit earlier today, he said that we have a lot of skilled college graduates that are coming out of our universities with this skill set, and they're going to other states because there's just not the jobs here for it.
Something you talked about earlier, and I think it's an interesting comparison. We've all seen the evolution of AI and the good and the bad and all the things that come with it.
Yep.
Does this have a similar potential for an effect like AI has had?
Possibly. So we do not have a quantum computer here in Utah. Really, the big boys do. Meta, Alphabet, Google, IBM, they have quantum computers because they have to be at almost absolute zero. Very, very cold temperatures. So the mechanics around these things is still pretty difficult. That's an engineering problem that they're working on. However, it can open up things around security. Things like cracking encryption because of how powerful these things can potentially be. So when you talk about AI going rogue, that's in the headlines a lot right now these days. Can quantum computers, if they get into the wrong hands, crack encryption? That is another thing that this initiative is working on, getting all the stakeholders in place to make sure that there's good policy centered around quantum computing if it gets to the level of the mainstream, which we're not there right now.
So is that why the governor's office is trying to jump on this a little bit at this point?
Absolutely. They want to try to get ahead. They know that this technology could be transformative, that it could be in the pipeline, that it could be working, and so they want to try to get ahead of it. Also, those federal dollars that they want to come into the state. The workforce, these skilled workers. This expert that I talked with today, he says, we got people going to Maryland, we got people going to Colorado because those states already have the infrastructure in place for quantum computing. And so if it is going to be as transformative as some people think that it may be, we want to try to be one of the states that can capitalize on that, because right now we're not anywhere close to being in that position.
We have 30 seconds here. I think of job scale, large computing. I think of the data center conversation. Does this quantum initiative also come with the increased energy use and all the things that a lot of the naysayers and the people who are upset about it will also be talking about if this gets bigger?
I think it absolutely could be. I don't know if quantum computers uses energy at the scale that artificial intelligence does. However, it's something that's in the picture, and they're going to put together this task force, so to speak, so that they make sure they have all these answers.
Jim Spiewak going in depth on this on 2 News at 4:15. 2 News at 4 starts in just a few minutes. We'll see you.